All right. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. My name is Samantha Collin. I'm a solutions engineer and manager of application engineers here at Demostack. I'm pleased to share with you two special guests, Josh and Aaron, both from Qualtrics. I have the privilege of working with them almost every week, and I've seen how their demo program has grown through their use of Demostack and other tools. Today, they're going to lead you on a presentation on really how they have enabled their AEs to demo more, to demo better, and to demo from one source of truth. So without further ado, I'm going to pass it over to Josh to introduce himself and Aaron, and we'll get started.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sam. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's nice to meet all of you. My name's Josh Dyer, and I'm actually a technical product marketer here at Qualtrics. And what that means is I'm responsible for our technical go-to-market collateral for new product innovation. So when we release a new product, I'm responsible for creating the demos, video content, etc., so that we can have the things that we need to sell these products from a technical perspective. And a big theme of this is the partnership between product marketing, myself, and with Aaron Lewis, who you'll just meet, is in solution engineering. The partnership between product marketing and solution engineering is super important and critical for the success of a demo program, especially if you want to enable AEs at scale. So I'll turn it over to Aaron to introduce himself.
Yeah, thank you, Josh. Appreciate it. And thanks everyone for tuning into this. This is exciting and fun for us to do. My name is Aaron Lewis. As Josh said, I sit in our pre-sales solution engineering org in a specialized team within that called demo engineering team, which I lead. If I were to sum up what I do in a nutshell, it's how do I take what our developers make and put it in the hands of our sellers so that we can go make money off of that. And so we hope to talk a lot about the how we are going about that, Josh and I, and I'll echo what he said with regards to the relationship between product management and product marketing, along with pre-sales and solution engineering on my side. So super excited to be here. And yeah, we're gonna talk about some really good stuff. So go ahead, Josh.
All right, so let's jump into the agenda, and we're going to talk about a few things today with you. Number one, what are some of the problems that you may be facing as far as demo content as a company? And we'll talk about some of the unique things that Qualtrics may be facing. And then number two, what was the demo program that we've been building to address some of those problems? So we'll talk about the different components that make up our demo program. And then number three, a huge part of our demo program is a single source of truth for all of our demo content. We have over 2,000 people in our field, salespeople, CSMs, etc. So having that single source of truth for all of our demo content is super important. And then lastly, how do we actually roll out new demos to the field so they can get enabled on them? How do we actually create those demos for AEs in mind? Who are the stakeholders involved? What's the demo operation process? So we'll touch on all of that. So with the next slide, here are some of the general problems that you may be facing in your company. These are probably the most poignant problems that we're facing at Qualtrics. Number one is a classic problem. We are over-reliant on pre-sales, right? Oftentimes, AEs aren't really sure how to demo the product. They're not sure where to go within your product to find the demo environments that they need to show. So they go to pre-sales and they lean on pre-sales to do a lot of the demos for them. And so oftentimes pre-sales are getting put on unqualified deals, and that can compound our costs and make incremental revenue more expensive. And then number two, if there's not like a demo program that the whole field can stack hands on, there's going to be a lot of duplicative and dissonant messaging across teams. They're going to be creating their own demos. They're going to talk about their own ways or their own ways of messaging the product to their customers. So that can cause some problems as well. And then number three, of course, we're thinking about SEs and AEs specifically, but what about customer success and even partners, right? When we're building this demo program, we want to think about everybody in the field, not just AEs and SEs, but also customer success and then even partners, right? We want people to demo and sell our product on our behalf and have them be an external person as a partner as well. And then lastly, who owns creating the demos and who owns enabling the field when it comes to demos, right? And for us at Qualtrics, that's a really important pod of people between PMM, PM, and pre-sales. It's a very important partnership for us at Qualtrics. So with that being said, I'll turn it over to Sam.
Yeah, so I want to get the crowd involved here. Open up your Zoom, get your fingers on the keyboard. We're going to take a poll real quick. The question's simple. Like Josh mentioned, Qualtrics are facing these problems with demos, but what problems is your organization facing? So check out the poll here in the Zoom app. What are your most pressing demo challenges? Is it pre-sales sinking time on unqualified calls? Oh, you got some votes coming in. Is it inconsistent messaging in demos, typically caused by the Wild West? The duplicate this demo, duplicate it again, and then it ends up being a beast on its own. Or is it demo enablement and support, right? Demos are only going to be used if you show them how to use it, if you show them where to get to it, and you make it easy to do so. So let's see, we have about 10 responses. I'm missing at least 10 of you. So please open your polls. I'll give you another 20 seconds. All right. So it looks like our hypothesis that we all face similar demo challenges is correct. Whether your challenge is pre-sales, spending time on unqualified deals, you want to remove them from the early calls, or it's inconsistent messaging in demos, or demo enablement and support. How do you show people where to get their demos and what to demo? Seems like pretty common problems and challenges orgs face. And now we get to hear how Qualtrics has solved for some of these very common challenges. So thank you all for voting. There's going to be one more poll in here at the middle of the session. I'll hand it back to Josh to continue with how they solve this problem.
Let's take it to
I'm
Aaron.
actually going to take this one. Yeah, no worries. I was hoping to just dive in a little bit further on what is Qualtrics' specific demo situation. Josh was talking about some generalities and the question that Sam said, we're all facing a lot of these same things. So in order for this to be as informative as possible, I just want to paint a little bit of the picture of what we have going on here at Qualtrics. So we are a large enterprise SaaS company in the experience management space. That means that we have about 1,800 plus people in the field. That includes a large quantity of reps. We also have obviously solution engineers, but then like Josh was saying, we have CSMs, we have technical account managers, and then we're also very interested in involving our partners, like Josh was mentioning. So that is a challenge for us to make sure that we have demo content that is appropriate for all of those different groups while keeping consistent messaging across. Also, like Josh was mentioning, and like what many of you said, we are very much focused on allowing our solution engineers, which I think we have around 100, 120 solution engineers across the company. So you can tell that's a very small subset of the 100 or 1,800 people. We want to make sure that those solution engineers are freed up for higher strategic, more qualified deals with where they can go chase those more important deals, freeing them up for the parts of the business that we're really trying to grow and accelerate. The solution engineers, that is their bread and butter. But that leaves us with a challenge of how, if we are asking the SEs mainly to support those larger deals, obviously we still have a lot of smaller deals as well. So that is a challenge for us and something that Josh and I have really been keen on trying to address. And then the third point here is at Qualtrics, we have a pretty complex product line. Like I said, we are an enterprise software, so there's a lot going on here. I have the screenshot on the slide from our website, but we have 3 main product areas: customer experience, employee experience, strategy, and research. Within each one of those 3 areas, we have a specific product. So you can see digital care. So we have 9 more products here. And then within each one of those products, there are the specific solutions and features. So it really starts to escalate and kind of turn into a pretty complex thing really quickly. So that is a challenge. And maybe some of you can relate to that with kind of the complexities at hand here. So if you want to go to the next slide, Sam, let's talk a little bit about some general solutions for this. And I'm going to follow the same approach, talk generally, and then talk about how Qualtrics, we have specifically addressed some of these solutions. But we believe that the solution for building out a comprehensive demo program is, first of all, democratize demos. We want to make sure that everyone has access to the same demo material, that there is a foundational baseline of that demo material. And that can be across our entire product. And that can also be across all the different tools that we use to demo, like Demostack. So this ranges from live product to Demostack to a couple other tools that we have within our toolbox here, our demo toolbox. This obviously allows us to allows pre-sales to prioritize those larger, more qualified deals, but it also is important to make sure that with a complex product line, like most of us are SaaS companies, there's a lot going on with these software products. Want to make sure that the different demos map to the different layers of the sales funnel. We know a demo for a first time call with a customer where the main goal is discovery. Like, what are we actually trying to do? What value can we bring to you as a customer? That's a different demo inherently than a demo with a client that you've been meeting with for months and you're looking for a more customized solution. So it's not one size fits all, right? We need to prepare demos, and it's important to have demos across that entire sales funnel. And the last point here is having consistent and coherent demo content across teams and markets. Qualtrics is a global company, and we have a lot of languages. We have a lot of different regions, a lot of countries that we want to provide that consistency with. So if you go to the next slide, let's talk a little bit more about how specifically we at Qualtrics are building this demo program and how we get to that solution on our side. So Josh already referenced this a little bit, but there is a very, very key relationship we believe here between PM, PMM, and solution engineering. These are key stakeholders within the product launch cycle. Obviously, a PMM is helping develop that product with our developers, with the engineering teams at hand. The PMM then is working hand in hand with that team to make sure they're positioning it and marketing it correctly, making sure we're telling the correct stories and solving the right challenges with that, with our stance in the field there. And then obviously the solution engineers are those that are going and they're on the front lines delivering that messaging to our customers. So making sure that our demo content is created with all three of those organizations in mind is critical to us. And we've said this a couple times, and this is something that I am very passionate about personally, but having a single source of truth for demo content. There should be one spot where everyone can go, whether it be a solution engineer or a sales rep or a partner, and they all have the same demo material. It's not different across the board, and one person's not going to have more access than another. Single source of truth, making sure that it's reliable. And I know that if I'm going to this repository or this demo content page, then I am doing that with the confidence that this is where the most up-to-date assets are. Another big point, and Josh is going to get into this a little bit later, but we are very keen on making sure enablement happens. We can build, and on the demo engineering side here, which is my team, we build demos all the time, but that does not matter if we're doing it in a vacuum and if we don't tell anyone about those demos. So that may seem obvious, but that's a challenge and it's really hard. There are different things like roadshows and webinars and newsletters that we have been utilizing. And then of course, we're here because of Demostack. We like to utilize a lot of different types of resources to get solutions out of the different problems that we have. So Demostack is a really great tool for us. We have again, this complex suite, and there's a lot of areas of the product that are hard to reach, frankly, with demo assets, whether it be an admin page that I'm not going to give an admin page to 1,800 people, right? Because they could delete something. Demostack comes in really well and makes a sandbox for that. So Demostack has been really critical to make sure that we do have a comprehensive demo program here where everyone is allowed to demo everything. And it's not just an admin or a solution engineer that has more permissions than other. Demostack allows us to get to those different hard to reach areas of the platform. So we've got another question. Sam, I'll pass it to you.
Yes, another poll. Get your keyboards out. This is specifically around bullet point 2, that single source of truth. And I'm curious, how does your team access your demos today? So I'm going to launch this poll. We have some options here. How does your team access your demos? Do you use a G Drive? Is it like the Wild West where I have copies of demos? Is it an intranet, like a Confluence, where you can go in and kind of, or Notion, that you can just dump your links and dump your demos? Is it a sales enablement platform, something built for purpose, like a Seismic or a HubSpot or a HighSpot, where your sales reps go for more than just demo collateral, but everything related to sales? Or is it something else? And I have a couple people choosing other, which is interesting. I'd love if you could post in the chat. What are you using if you selected other? Is it nothing? Is it every man for themselves? Is it videos? Is it a PowerPoint? How are you storing your demos? How does one SE know where the other SE gets their demos? How do AEs get to that? Couple more responses coming in. It looks like our number one response is other. Strange. I wonder what that could be. Aaron or Josh, any ideas what other could be, where they store their demos?
Spreadsheets.
Spreadsheets. Oh, cool. Thanks for playing. I will end the poll and show you the results here. Can everyone see the poll results? Give me a thumbs up.
Yep.
Yeah, it looks like kind of a smattering of places. And remember, Josh and Aaron, why they were so successful is one source of truth that allows them to democratize these demos, give the people access. If a product is released or a demo is released and no one knows about it, it's like it never happened. And that's just a shame. So thanks for playing. Back to you to continue on with your story.
Yeah. I want to show you here on this slide. This is exactly our source of truth. So you can see in the screenshots here, and I'll talk about it a little bit. But we use a sales enablement platform called HighSpot. Sam referenced that. It's a great place, and I'm not saying you need to use this, but having a single source of truth is great. And HighSpot is the software or the platform that we use at Qualtrics for all of our sales programs. So pitch decks and videos and one-pagers and all sorts of material is on HighSpot for us. So it really makes sense for the demo content to also be there. HighSpot is also a page where we can allow partners to access, but a lot of, again, critical thoughts around it being a single source of truth. And you can see in I referenced this earlier, but mapping the demos to the sales funnel is something that I want to spend a little bit of time on talking about here, with what we call maybe like a multi-level demo content. We tend to talk through like levels, like a L1 demo or an L2 demo or an L3 demo. And that is specifically what maps to the sales funnel. So within the page, and I'm not looking, you don't need to squint your eyes or anything, but you can see on our page, it's almost like a two-dimensional demo asset page where we have our product suites, like we saw earlier, the CX, the EX, and the strategy and research. But it's more than just one demo button for each one of those products. We have these multi-layers of demo content, understanding that the discovery demo is much different than a customized, farther down the sales funnel demo. This also allows us to really easily surface the demos that are most important at any given moment. So right now for us, we have a lot of AI features coming out, and we get a lot of questions. Josh and I get a lot of messages of where can I get the AI demo? So having the source of truth is a really easy way for us to float that stuff up to the top. And in this case, AI demos are very, very accessible. This is also a place where we can store video content and product tours, which is a specific Demostack asset that we have found really great success with. And so there are a lot of different benefits here where we can, obviously, these demos are more accessible. It's all standardized. It's really easy and quick to get to, which reduces the prep time. And this is owned by solution engineering and PMM. So again, that synergy between those two organizations is critical to make sure that the messaging of new products from PMM is cohesive with the messaging or the go-to-market strategies of solution engineering. So we're going to dive a little bit deeper into these different types of assets that we have and a couple of the Demostack assets in particular. So I'm going to pass it back over to Josh.
Okay, awesome. So when we think about using Demostack within our demo ecosystem, this is one way to look at it and how we're mapping our content to the sales funnel. So oftentimes we are using Demostack for top to mid-funnel demo content. And then there's a handoff that happens in the middle of the funnel where we start using live product more often when it comes to bottom funnel type content, technical evaluations and RFPs, etc. And Demostack is super awesome when it comes to top and mid-funnel type content. Of course, we're using the tours, which I'll mention in more depth momentarily, but we're using tours to generate leads on our website, right? And then, of course, we have these high-level end-to-end demos through playbooks in Demostack. And that's a really easy way for an AE or a CSM to give that high-level demo at the very beginning with a customer if they want to see the product right from the get-go, right? And Demostack has that railroad track experience, which is really easy for our AEs, where it's a single click path. They know how to go through it really easily. So it's really powerful for those types of applications for us using Demostack, and we really love using it for that. And then, of course, as we get down into the sales funnel, we're using live product, right? Because we want to have that flexible show anything experience in a demo for those technical evaluations, but we're still using Demostack for a lot of things when it comes to bottom funnel type content. For example, you can create a sandbox of your demo and share that sandbox with different stakeholders at a customer for internal selling purposes. And so there's so many different ways that we're finding to use Demostack. And when you think about the crawl, walk, and run framework, we're still just getting started with Demostack. I think we've had a lot of success in the last 9 months, but we're finding more and more ways in the future to use Demostack across this entire sales funnel. So with the next slide, I want to talk about product tours specifically. And we're using tours right now on the Qualtrics.com website. So if you were to navigate to Qualtrics.com, we have these tours embedded throughout our entire website. And this is a really powerful self-guided experience for our website visitors, for our prospects, and there's no need for any intermediary to give the demo. There's no need for an SE or an AE. It's just a self-guided experience, which is really great for our customers. And it helps us generate a lot of pipeline and leads and opportunities on our website. And it's done quite a bit for us just this year doing this. We have about 9 tours that are live on Qualtrics.com, and they're all doing very well. And in addition to that, we're actually going to be using these tours for product enablement purposes. So Qualtrics has its own enablement platform where we train our own customers and users, and we're going to embed these tours into our e-learning digital courses and lessons so that our own users can get hands-on with the product through a tour, which is a great way for them to kind of know how to use the product and know what to click on. So tours are really great. And then on the next slide, we're using playbooks quite extensively. We have all these playbooks on our single source of truth that Aaron showed. So it's really intimidating to find all the demo content, right? If I'm an AE, I have to log into my product, and then I have to go hunt down the different demo environments. With playbooks, it bundles all of the different demos in one place. That's often a challenge with software, right? You have to show a bunch of different features in a single demo, and you have to hunt down all the logins. But with a playbook, you're able, with one button to click, you can populate all of the tabs in your browser for every single demo. And when we show this capability to our AEs and CSMs partners, it's like magic for them. They've never seen something like this before. And so they really love this, and it has pretty good adoption for us when it comes to having our AEs do demos, and it reduces the prep time for AEs for their demos significantly. And then when it comes to the next slide, you're creating all this great content. How do you actually get the word out there? How do you enable the field on all these different pieces of content, whether it's a demo script or a demo playbook, tours, etc.? These are several different avenues that we have at Qualtrics to increase the adoption of our demo content. And the most foundational thing is the single source of truth. We build everything on top of that, right? But number one, as far as enabling the field, we think that roadshows are the most effective way to really drive adoption to your assets. And when I say roadshow, that's actually going and meeting with a sales team or a CSM team or whoever it is, and actually having 30 minutes to 60 minutes with that team and having that presentation with them, that interaction, there's really no substitute when it comes to that live face-to-face interaction with the team. And so they can, provide feedback. So roadshows are really the most effective way for us at Qualtrics to drive adoption. And then number two, of course, we have monthly newsletters. So we'll send those out to the field and say, hey, here's some new demo assets. Here's updates to existing demo assets. Here are some things to consider with a new product innovation that we're launching. So monthly newsletters, of course, are a great way to do that. And there's many different ways to do that. And then number three are scripts, writing demo scripts. And the expectation is that an AE should never be reading a demo script on a call. I think that's, generally speaking, a very bad idea. But demo scripts are very useful from an enablement perspective. When we create a new demo environment, that should be accompanied with a script that somebody can read through so they can acquaint themselves with the demo environment and the product, how to talk about it, what's the talk track, what's the messaging. So scripts are always very useful in this situation. And then lastly, training and marketing videos. Whenever we create a new demo, it's a good idea to have somebody record themselves actually giving the demo. So somebody can actually watch that, and so that you can share those ways of giving the demo to all the different people in the field. Also, marketing videos are very useful just because that kind of teaches the field how to talk about the product, what's the messaging, what's the value proposition as well. And then with the next slide, what's the process for releasing new demo content? So in the next two slides, I want to talk about what's the demo operation, who are the stakeholders involved, and whenever Qualtrics is launching a new product, of course you have the bill of materials. That's the one pager, the pitch deck, all the different collateral that you need to sell the product. But a subset of the bill of materials is the technical bill of materials. And this includes our video content, so an externally facing product video that we can share with our customers. It's internal walkthrough videos. So I mentioned training videos. This aligns with that. Number three is a clickable demo. So of course that could be a live demo environment. It could be a tour with Demostack, whatever the needs are of the product launch. And then of course a demo script to go along with that clickable demo. So these are the types of content that we're creating with a new demo or product launch. And then in the next slide, this is kind of a general récit of who's responsible for what at Qualtrics in the creation of these assets. And for us, this demo operation is extremely important. We've alluded to the fact that PM, PMM, and Presales is a very important partnership when it comes to creating these assets. When it comes to product management, they are imparting product truth to all of us. They're teaching us about this new product. They're teaching us how to use it, and which is very important for us so that we can actually figure out how to start building the demo environment and build out the data sets, right? And then of course, PMM is coming in, and they're responsible for the messaging and positioning and how to actually talk about the product. What's the value proposition? And if we're going to be writing a script, oftentimes the PMM is going to be responsible for writing the script as well. And then in addition to that, of course, pre-sales, solution engineering is extremely important in this partnership. They have the product expertise. They understand the product portfolio better than anybody within our company. And they also have more knowledge of the customer oftentimes than PMs and PMMs across a lot of our different products. They have that feedback from the field. And so having all of these different stakeholders together really help us make really good technical demo content when we're releasing it to the field. There's kind of two main things that we're doing in this process. Number one is building the demo environments, building the data sets. There's a lot of really great generative AI tools out there to help build data sets now, like Gretel. So that's really awesome. We love doing that type of stuff. And then number two is script writing. Script writing is an art when it comes to demo scripts and video scripts. And oftentimes the PMM should be responsible for the script writing, but that's a whole process in of itself. And usually we're taking several months to create the demos. And it's an iterative process between these stakeholders. And of course, I think the most important thing in this process is a forcing function like a dry run. You can be creating a demo in a silo, you can be creating a demo video in a silo, but once you actually bring everybody together and do a dry run of the demo, you're going to really see if the demo is good or not, and then make the improvements that are necessary. So having a forcing function like a dry run amongst those stakeholders is extremely important. So that's how we approach the demo operation at Qualtrics. And with that being said, I think that's our last slide, Sam.
Yes, it is. So we're up to the Q&A portion. Please stick around. This is going to be one of the most impactful parts of the session, because we're going to ask Josh and Aaron some questions about how they did it and if they have advice for you all. So I realized earlier I said to chat. Chat is disabled, but we do have the Q&A tab available on Zoom. So if you have a question for Josh and Aaron on any of their slides or things they presented, please go ahead and type it in there. I'll get us started. You mentioned in the beginning, Josh and Aaron, that part of the reason why you came to Demostack was you wanted to democratize demos and you wanted to give AEs access to be able to demo earlier to free up some of that SE time. So why did Qualtrics think that AEs should be doing these demos? Why'd you go there?
A great question. And scaling is the name of the game. I think it's really important for us to be able to get everybody to do demos because it's going to reduce our costs as a business, make sure that SEs are focusing on the most important deals. And there's different types of selling motions across enterprise, corporate, small business. When it comes to small business and corporate, it's more difficult for an AE to qualify for SE support, considering the thresholds that an SE would have. And so it's extremely useful to have AEs be doing demos for those smaller and mid-market customers. But even in an enterprise selling motion, we still expect AEs to be doing demos. Like the first demo, a top of funnel type demo with a customer, we want an AE to be doing that even in an enterprise motion. But then with enterprise, there's often a handoff between the AE and the SE when it comes to doing the demo. So we think it's really important for AEs to be doing demos. They need to be understanding the product. It's just going to be a more effective way of selling. And I think it's just better for the business in general.
Can you share a little bit about the sales leaders and the AEs themselves? How have they reacted to this change of here are your demos?
Also a really good question. So when we first presented the demo single source of truth, all of the demo content to our sales leaders, they were absolutely ecstatic. And they put it at the very top of our enablement calendar. This is something that's very top of mind for a lot of our sales leaders. They really want to make sure that their AEs can do a lot of this stuff on their own. And in addition to that, we've done probably a dozen roadshows in the last couple of months where we actually get hands-on with AEs. We get feedback from them, we hear what they have to say. And we've had AEs tell us like, hey, where was this 5 years ago? We needed this. This is something that really makes it much more effective to sell. When we have new AEs that join the Qualtrics, they absolutely love this because it helps get them up to speed really quickly. They know how to talk about the product. They know what to show. It's not a desert for them and trying to find what to showcase in the product. They know exactly where to go in the product and how to talk about it. So especially our new AEs are really loving a lot of this.
Love it. And Aaron, how does this affect your side of the business or the business as a whole?
Yeah, no, from the solution engineering perspective, it's been pretty cool to see the freedom, I guess, that solution engineers now have to go and chase those bigger deals and those more impactful deals while not needing to worry so much about like closing these smaller, quicker deals. It allows them to have the time and the space to prioritize these larger cycles. And there's been a lot of cool instances, especially as we've introduced Demostack to the tech stack here, of solution engineers using Demostack or using the other demos that we have created to enable their kind of group or their favorite AEs, right? There was a cool story this was our coworker went on paternity leave and he didn't want his pipeline to shrivel up, right? He didn't want to be out for 4 to 6 weeks and come back and have no deals on the horizon. So what he did was he prepped all the demo content that he usually would give, and he created Demostack assets for it. He made it very he put the bumper lanes up, right? So that his reps could go and give the demos that he would normally give. And when he came back from paternity leave, it was almost like nothing had happened, right? He still had the healthy pipeline that he was experiencing before paternity leave. So I think solution engineers have generally enjoyed the fact that AEs now are just more capable. And it also means that when an SE is involved in a deal, or maybe they're brought in towards the tail end, it's a more qualified deal because they've already gone through the higher level demos, the more discovery level demos, and AEs are more qualified and better prepped to know exactly what is the challenge that this customer is facing, what's the value that our product is going to bring. And that really tees it up nicely for the solution engineer to bring it home or other things.
Awesome. Yeah, I heard a lot of good things in there. Empowerment of the AEs, freedom of the SEs, and then overall just efficiency, better qualified deals. I'm sure faster if they're seeing demos earlier as well. We have a question here from Ben. Aaron, I see you're answering. Actually want you to answer this out loud. The question is, do you use live demo environments? And if so, when and why do you choose those over a product tour? And I'd love for you to talk about the different solutions, kind of talking about that sales funnel. I might even go back to that to kind of anchor your discussion here.
I was going to say, could you go back to that slide of the colorful funnel that Josh spoke to? So great question, Ben. And that's something that we've kind of gone back and forth, and I think we've settled in a really good place here, where Demostack is generally going to be what we use at the higher levels or the top of the sales funnel. And for example, a product tour, we have those on our websites, but we also have given those to our SDRs who are going and prospecting and trying to find these customers. We think product tours are really, really useful, not only for the website, but that's something that's really easy to email to a customer and say like, hey, are you interested in the solution? Or after you meet with someone, a rep meets with someone, send a product tour as a leave behind and say, hey, here's a recap of what we went over today. Feel free to send this to your colleagues. So we definitely use those product tours. I would say more at the top of the sales funnel. As we get deeper into the sales funnel though, and into these like in the 4th, 5th, 6th meeting with a customer, that's where live product starts to take over for us here at Qualtrics. Of course, there are instances where Demostack still comes into play, but I met with a rep. Josh and I were doing this roadshow, and a rep was, he's been here at Qualtrics for a significant amount of time, and he also said, hey, I want to use this demo content that you've created, but this is a customer who we know really well. We've met with them very, very frequently, and they always are asking like, hey, click on that button or do this, and kind of like taking their conversations in random directions. That's a great use case for live demos, right? Or live product, because it allows the quick pivots and the more customized things. Whereas if it's more just high level discovery, top of funnel, more prescribed demoing, that's where the Demostack and specifically product tours come in. I think there's a middle ground also with Demostack where we use the sandboxes, and especially guided sandboxes, which is a feature that just was released, and we've seen good excitement around that, allowing reps to do a demo in a sandbox environment, which feels a lot like live code. It's much more agile, but it still has some guide lanes on there, and it's a little bit more of a handheld experience. So hopefully that answers your question. Generally speaking, top of the funnel, product tours, getting into sandboxes, and then more towards the bottom, customized is where we get deeper into live product.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Aaron. Ben, feel free to comment again. I'm going to mark it as answered live. Speaking of enablement, you talked about tours being a wonderful enablement tool. Talk to me about why it's important to know what a good demo is before you build it. How do you determine that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it goes first and foremost to the synergy with these different areas, right? So making sure that all the right people are in the room together. We understand the resources that we have here at Qualtrics might be different than the resources you guys have at your various companies. Here at Qualtrics, we have PMMs, we have technical PMMs. We're a pretty large company. Not every company is going to have that, but generally speaking, having the guiding principle of let's get all the right people in the right room having the right conversation, I think is a really great baseline. And then making sure that those people are also knowing what they're responsible for. And as you build the demo, obviously the product marketer and the PM, they've hopefully done their product research or their customer research. They know what challenges they're working to address with that solution or feature or product, whatever the demo is built around. And then I think there's a really key element in being able to track if that demo is actually used afterwards. Because you could build it and you could say, hey, we're really hoping that this demo is used in X, Y, or Z way. But if there's no way to track that or follow up and say, hey, this demo was opened 47 times this week, it's pretty good. Or like, hey, we're actually not seeing anyone click on this. So maybe we missed the mark a little bit. Having a tracking built in, and that's something that HighSpot does really well for us. We can track exactly what our usage rates are and see which demos are being clicked on the most frequently by which teams. It also allows us to, if I'm meeting with a certain sales manager, I can see all the people that roll up to that manager and say, hey, we came and we did this enablement roadshow session last week, and this week it looks like your team is utilizing it pretty well, or it spiked on that first day and then nobody came back to it. So having those bits of information and data allow us to make informed decisions about what is a good demo after getting the initial pod or the initial group together with PMMs and PMs and solution engineers.
Thanks, Aaron. So you talked about what the good demo is, where they go to get the demos, but can you tell me more about what to demo? So if I'm a new AE at Qualtrics, how do I know where to go? Talk to me about the structure and how you organize that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think there's two answers to that question. The first one is we have structured the demos to the sales funnel, which we've mentioned. And we have kind of like an L1, L2, L3 schema when it comes to organizing the demos. We kind of expect an account with an AE and an SE to progress through that schema of assets. So they're starting off with that high level demo. And so we expect them to go in. It's going to be in Demostack. It's a high level overview of the product. They can kind of start that discovery with the customer, see what's important for them, right? And then they're progressing. And then we have essentially demo content for every single feature within Qualtrics. And that's the second point, which is an AE can get modular with what they're showing to their customer, depending on what the customer is most interested in. So they can go into our single source of truth. They can go to any feature and they can build out their demo for themselves. And it can be modular where they can pick and choose which features to show. So, I mean, ultimately the AE needs to be doing discovery, and then they need to triangulate that with what we have in the demo single source of truth with the different types of assets that we have in there, depending whether it's more high level or if it's a deeper technical conversation.
Yeah. And Aaron, you mentioned the axes. You said it was like a 2D. I would almost say it's 3D, right? It's the one dimension. It's the what level in the sales cycle are you? Are you top of funnel? Maybe you'll get a tour. That's one dimension. Another dimension is the product line or the modularity of it. So being able to break down your product lines, which are complex, right? Three groupings and then 9 subgroups within them. It's a complex product. So having that modularity and being able to stack in them. The third, I think, is just the different types of assets. So not just different assets for different places in the funnel, but different ways to engage. And I think that's really unique about what you've done. It gives your AEs a lot of power to have what they need to sell more.
Yeah, we want to make sure that they're never going to be up a creek without a paddle, right? Wherever they are in the demo cycle with a customer, they can go and they can find an asset that's going to be applicable. And yeah, we have, at the end of the day, we have probably around 150 different demos built, which I realize is probably a lot. And I think it speaks to the fact that it's important to have dedicated people like Josh and myself and our teams. We have the resources to go and build and maintain these demo content to make sure that there always is, an AE is never going to be lost or stranded. And yeah, I think it's obviously like we're putting a lot of trust in our AEs as well to go and do that discovery. And we do trust them to do that. And that's going to up level their selling. And they know that, and we know that. And it's a matter of, are we giving you the resources to be successful? And from our side, Josh mentioned there's a lot of gratification as we go and do these road shows, and we tell the sales or the sales leaders what we've built for them, because they're saying, oh, finally, like I've been waiting for this. I want to up level. I want to do these things. I don't want to have to wait for the solution engineer to respond to me, 3 days later. I want to just be able to be agile and do it myself. So it's been a lot of gratification in that regard as well.
Any other questions from the group before I wrap it up with the last one? Final Q&A questions. Don't be shy. All right. I have a question for you all. I work, I'm at Demostack, obviously, so I have an interest in what you're doing. Very proud of what you've done. But for those without the dedicated teams that you have, the large teams, how do you think they should think about this? How should people get started with much less resources or time than maybe your team has?
It's a really good question. It depends on your role. So I'm not sure what everybody's role is on this call, whether you're in pre-sales or product marketing or something else. There are some advantages to being a smaller company in this process, right? At Qualtrics, when we go through this demo operation, we oftentimes have 50, even over 100 stakeholders involved, and we have to get buy-in from a chief product officer and head of pre-sales and chief marketing officer and all of this content. So I think you actually have some advantages if you're a smaller company, mid-market, with a smaller team, because you can be way more agile and you can be more flexible when it comes to roles and responsibilities of who's doing what, right? I think generally speaking, just level setting on what are the type of assets that you want to have in a product launch. I certainly advise a customer-facing video, I think is great. I think you do need a clickable demo. That's probably the very first thing you have to actually create is the demo environment, right? And then you can do script writing, create the videos from there. And so there are different things involved in the creation of those assets. So you can be flexible with who's going to do what in that process within your organization, creating the data sets, the script writing. There is even videography involved. If you have those skills in Adobe Premiere or somewhere else, maybe you could do that, or somebody else within the organization. At Qualtrics, we actually outsource that to a third-party agency. So I think there are real advantages to doing this in a smaller organization.
And I would just add to that at the end of the day, no matter how big or small your company is, from my perspective, a demo is where the rubber hits the road. Like a lot of times a rep is going to paint a very pretty picture for a customer of what we can do, all these promises. But at the end of the day, when you get to a demo, that's where you can't really hide, right? And I think that's how it should be with a sales motion, where no matter if you're a big company or a small company, a demo is a very, very critical part. So to your question, Sam, of what if the size or the resourcing it doesn't match up to what we're talking about? I think there is a through line of, first of all, understanding demos are critical to the sales motion, and making sure that the company is aware of that. And I think that's universal. And then to what I mentioned earlier, making sure that once the buy-in for creating demos and building out this demo program is there, just make sure whoever it is at your company, whatever resources you have, make sure that you're utilizing and putting the right people in the right room. That's something that Josh, I'll brag on Josh a little bit. He's really good at just making sure, hey, we need to build a demo. Who are the different stakeholders that we need to identify? Let's put them on a Zoom call. Let's put them in a chat. Let's make a Slack channel. Let's keep the conversation moving. Let's make sure people know what they're responsible for. And that could be a formal technical PMM, it could be a PMM, or it could just be, whoever is creating demos for the first time for your company. I think that's a universal trait. And again, demos are just so critical. I'll say it again, it's where the rubber hits the road, and it's where you're really going to start doing the really impactful selling. So recognizing that, I think it would be the first step.
Are you all able to share any metrics about value found or ROI found by using Demostack and your demo program that you've stood up?
Yeah, a really successful metric that we found is those tours on the website. those kind of are passively sitting there, right? People can interact and see, okay, what is Qualtrics.com? Click on a tour. Those generated 7 figures of pipeline for us, just passively sitting on our website. So that's been a really big success, and it's created about 85 unique opportunities. I think we launched that in about April. So that's what, 5 months? That's been a big win for us. Another metric I could share with, Q3 is about to wrap up this week. In the Q3 quarter, we've seen about a 10% decrease in solution engineers on deals, which is what we want, right? We want solution engineers to be on less deals and hire more qualified deals at the same time, right? So that's been a really great metric for us to follow, seeing like, okay, if solution engineers are being asked to be on less deals, that means that AEs are more confident, they're more capable, and they're going after these things without the maybe security blanket of a solution engineer. So those I guess are 2 metrics I can share of big wins that we've had recently with this whole program.
Yeah, I'll share one more. So Qualtrics, we have a user conference every single year called X4, and we have over 10,000 customers that attend this conference. And so we have a lot of different demo stations, even have self-service demo stations on the showroom floor where our users can come up and get demos. And we generated over 1,000 leads in those demo stations, and all the content on those demo stations was facilitated through Demostack, and it was really great. And like the tours, we also generated a lot of pipeline. I can't say the number for X4 and what relates to that, but it's certainly a good number too.
Wow, amazing. Thank you so much, Josh and Aaron. That was so informative. I am so proud of what you've done. I think you're a model of how demo operations should be thought about. We talked a lot about democratizing demos, give everyone the access to give a demo, make it easy for them, have tools that make it easy, that oasis in the desert. Love that story. And then that cross-functional team, the idea that a good demo takes a few people, it takes insight, it takes the marketing, it takes your developers, your product, your salespeople to really make it work. So thank you all so much. For those of you that are still here, we have recorded this call and we will be sending it out after. Don't be a stranger. Hit us up on our website if you don't know us directly. And thank you so much, Josh and Aaron and Qualtrics, for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. It's been a pleasure.